We're always told to eat things like berries and fish for better brain health. And that's great advice. But what if some of the most powerful mood-boosting foods are hiding in plain sight? Things you probably never considered. Well, today we're diving into some really surprising science-backed ingredients that research suggests could play a real role in our mental resilience.
So let's just jump right in with a wild question. What if a simple spice, one that's been used for centuries just to make rice look pretty, could actually have effects similar to an antidepressant in some clinical trials? Now hold on, this is absolutely not about replacing medication, but it's exactly the kind of jaw-dropping result that's making scientists sit up and pay very close attention.
And that's what this is all about. Over on the left, you've got the classics: berries, fish, leafy greens. We know them, we love them, fantastic. But today, we're going on an adventure into the column on the right. We're talking saffron, seaweed, mushrooms, the kind of stuff you probably don't immediately connect with your mental well-being.
First up, we're going to open up the spice cabinet. We're looking at a couple of ancient remedies that, it turns out, are now getting some serious backup from modern science.
Let's start with saffron. You know those tiny, precious red threads? It's so much more than a pretty color or unique flavor. It's pretty amazing, actually. Multiple clinical trials have shown that saffron extracts can genuinely help reduce depressive symptoms. Just think about that for a second. A simple spice with such a potentially profound effect.
So, how profound are we talking? Well, check this out. In one 6-week trial, just 60 milligrams of saffron a day showed results that were really similar to a standard 100 milligram dose of the antidepressant sertraline in reducing depression scores. I mean, wow, that is a really significant finding.
So, how do you even use it? Well, adding a little pinch to your rice or stew is a great place to start. But, and this is the most important part, if you're thinking about supplements to get those clinical level effects, you have to talk to your doctor. I'm going to say it again, never, ever self-prescribe or mix supplements with medications you're already taking. Seriously.
Okay, next up in the spice cabinet is curcumin. This is the powerhouse compound that gives turmeric its bright yellow color. Now, most of us know it's a potent anti-inflammatory, right? But what's so cool is that the research shows those benefits go further, helping to protect our brains and maybe even give our mood a little boost.
And the evidence for this is getting really strong. This quote comes from meta-analyses. Now, what that means is scientists didn't just look at one study. They combined the results of a whole bunch of different studies to get the big picture. And the consensus? Curcumin seems to lead to significant improvements in depressive symptoms when you compare it to a placebo. That's a big deal.
So for everyday use, just adding turmeric to your curries or smoothies is perfect. But here's the pro tip. Always, always pair it with a little bit of black pepper. The piperine in the pepper just skyrockets your body's ability to absorb all that good curcumin. And you guessed it, here comes the caution. If you happen to be on blood thinners, you have to talk to your provider before you even think about a supplement.
All right, we're closing the spice cabinet, and we're going to take a journey inward. We're moving from our kitchen to our inner ecosystem to explore this incredibly powerful connection between our gut and our brain. And at the very heart of this is something called the gut-brain axis. The easiest way to think about it is like a superhighway, a direct line of communication, constantly buzzing with information flowing between your gut and your head. And get this, the trillions of little microbes living in your gut can actually produce neurotransmitters, like serotonin, that directly influence your mood and how you deal with stress. It's wild.
This is where things like kimchi, kefir, and yogurt come into play. These fermented foods deliver live microbes or probiotics right to your gut. The whole theory is that these friendly bacteria can then jump on that gut-brain superhighway and send some positive signals. Now, the evidence is definitely promising, but we have to be honest here, it's also a bit mixed. The effects can really vary from one person to the next.
Okay, another really fascinating one from nature is the lion's mane mushroom. It looks kind of like a cheerleader's pom-pom. Its real potential seems to lie in these unique compounds that might stimulate something called nerve growth factor. And that is absolutely crucial for keeping our brain cells healthy and firing on all cylinders.
Now, the research here is definitely still in its early days. What we have are small human trials that have found that people taking lion's mane for several weeks reported feeling less anxious and depressed compared to those who took a placebo. So the key things to remember here, the trials are small, and this isn't an overnight fix. The effects seem to build up over time. For our final group, let's look at some of nature's other unexpected little helpers. I want you to think of these as really enjoyable, mindful things you can add to your day that also happen to have some pretty cool links to brain health.
First up, seaweed. Seriously, it's basically a nutritional powerhouse from the ocean. It is just jam-packed with stuff your brain loves. Iodine for your thyroid, B vitamins for energy, magnesium for relaxation, and even those crucial omega-3s. All of these are so important for a happy, healthy brain.
And the data we have is pretty compelling. There was a big 3-year-long study in Japan that found that people who ate more seaweed had only 1/3 the odds of developing depressive symptoms compared to people who didn't. That shows a really powerful link, at least at a population level.
And finally, let's talk about a couple of mindful treats. Dark chocolate. Its magic comes from something called flavonols. These are amazing plant compounds that can improve blood flow to the brain and give you a nice feeling of calm and contentment. And then you've got matcha, which is rich in an amino acid called L-theanine. It's famous for creating this feeling of calm focus. You're alert, but not jittery.
The key with both of these is really about quality and not going overboard. For chocolate, you want to aim for a small piece of the really dark high cocoa stuff. For matcha, a teaspoon or 2 is all you need. And just, keep an eye on the caffeine and sugar content in both to really get the best benefits.
Okay, we have covered a lot of really interesting ground. So let's take a second to pull all this evidence together and create a clear, practical guide for you. This table is a perfect summary. You can see right at the top, saffron and curcumin have the strongest clinical evidence, but they're best used as supplements, and only with a doctor's supervision. Then in the middle, you've got the promising, but kind of mixed group, like fermented foods and lion's mane. And then at the bottom, you have these wonderful daily options, like seaweed and dark chocolate, which have milder effects or those cool population-level links.
So if you're feeling inspired and you want to try some of this out, here's a simple, safe way to go about it. First, just start with the food itself. Add some turmeric to your meals. Second, only add one new thing at a time so you can really see how you feel. And number 4, the golden rule is the most important. If you are even thinking about supplements, it is absolutely essential that you talk to your doctor first. And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, our most important slide. Let's be crystal clear. This is not medical advice. No single food, no matter how amazing it sounds, can replace professional therapy, medication, or other critical lifestyle changes for managing mood disorders. These foods are tools, maybe complements to a bigger, holistic approach to your health.
But if the science we've talked about today shows us one thing, it's this. Your plate is a seriously powerful tool for your well-being. So the question I want to leave you with is, what will you add to it next?